everyone, I'm Kimberly, co-owner of Tokyo Pen Shop, and this is guided journaling number 12 already, future self journaling. So I have received several requests for future self journaling. Now I'm sure that people do this different ways, so this is going to be the Kimberly guide to future self journaling. Future self-journaling can be so inspiring. It can help you get to the root of your habitual behaviors that result in who you are currently. So let's, as usual, get our favorite notebook we like to journal with, get a favorite pen, maybe a favorite highlighter. I've got some candle and rock vibes going, and I'm ready to journal. So first, we need to get a vision of this future self we want to manifest. This is going to be so different for all of us. So for example, maybe you want to be the type of person who saves money versus overspends. Maybe you want to be a manager at your current workplace. Maybe you want to be 50 pounds lighter. Maybe you want to be fit. Maybe you want to work remotely and currently you have to go into the office every day. Get clear about what it is you want to manifest for the purpose of this exercise. And it's best if you just keep it to like one major thing and not like a bunch. I understand some of us want to be completely different people. Let's do it one objective at a time. Okay, so we are going to envision going through a day as this future self, and we want to be thinking about what that person does and what they think. So get your vision of what it is you want to see in your future self, and I'll guide you through some journaling prompts for this exercise. Okay, you're waking up. What does it look like? So I'm going to write down, what does my future self do and, importantly, think when she wakes up? Okay, so that is the first thing I want you to ponder and journal about. Now, for any of these prompts, you might want to pause and give yourself ample time. However long you need is just fine. Okay, so just in case some of you need a little bit of help here. So say your future self is a CEO. Are you going to be waking up at 11 a.m.? Probably not. Is your future self super fit and skipping their morning workout? Probably not. So you kind of get the idea. Is your future self eating donuts in the morning? What does your future self feel like? It's really important to think about what your future self thinks. So your future self, this inspiring version of yourself, probably does not get up in the morning and think, wow, I'm such a loser. I ate Oreo cookies for dinner again last night. Your future self, this ideal version of you, probably does not do that negative self-talk crap. And so for this exercise, your future self is going to be thinking probably pretty positively. Going to be talking to yourself positively. So once you are ready to move on from what your future self is like when they wake up in the morning, now let's get ready for our day. What does that look like? look like. So I'm just going to write down What does my future self do to get ready for her day? Okay, so now I want you to think about this prompt. I think I'm actually going to zoom in for you guys a little bit. Okay. So does your future self start their day with 2 hours on social media comparing yourself to everyone else? Probably not. Does your future self get some exercise in? Drink some water? How does your future self feel? How does your future self think? Always be thinking about how your future self thinks, because ultimately that is going to drive your actions. Okay, now let's get dressed if we haven't already. What are we wearing? So I'm going to write, now my future self gets dressed. Okay. What is she wearing? So this is going to be a pretty visual, going to have to use your mind's eye. But the reason it's important is, say you want to be a CEO. Is your future self going to get up, go on social media for 2 hours, and then put on some stained holy sweatpants to start their day? Probably not. I don't think very many CEOs do that. So the reason this is so important to do is because it is going to help show you the gap between what you want to manifest for yourself and where you are right now. And it's not in any way to, do to beat yourself up about. It's really just to see what is that gap. And in order to get there to your future self, you have to understand what is in that gap and what you have to overcome. Maybe it's getting yourself up in the morning. Maybe it's eating a, healthier dinner. Maybe it's going to the gym instead of scrolling social media. It just totally depends on what it is you want to manifest. But this is going to help show you what that gap is, and that's crucial. Okay, do we want our future self to have a streamlined wardrobe, or do we want our future self to have piles of crap we never wear all over the floor of our closet? Just really think about this. Because in order to become that person that we want to be, we need to stop doing some of this junk that we're doing that's not helping us manifest this future self. So hopefully by now you're getting the kind of idea behind this and the groove of it. And, any number of these prompts could be entire journal entries in and of themselves. It's just entirely up to you. It's your journaling time. After we've gotten our future self ready for the day, we've thought about the kinds of stuff they're doing, the kinds of stuff they're thinking. Now let's begin our main activities for the day. What is our future self doing? So what are some of my future future no. Self's main activities. Okay, what are some of my future self's main activities? What is your future self doing during the day? So, just for some examples, some people just really need examples. That's why I'm giving so many. Are you cleaning your house? Are you homeschooling your kids? Are you playing at the park with your toddler instead of just laying around your house watching TV with them? Are you meeting with vendors for your business? Are you creating YouTube content? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? How are you talking to yourself as you go about your day? Think about that inner dialogue. What would this kind of person say to themselves? You know, when my son was about 3 or 4, he was running around in circles and he was saying, "Come on, Henry, you can do it. You're doing so great." It was like he was pep talking himself. It was such positive self-talk that I really thought, when I saw him doing that, and, I never really had this instilled in me when I was a kid, and I definitely think he got it from his awesome preschool teachers. But, I really thought like, oh, this kid is set for life. If he can talk to himself like that, just really positively, while he's working on something that's hard for him, because I probably should have prefaced that story by saying running was very hard for him, and he was always like way behind his friends who were all always like 6 months older or more. So he was just like always behind, probably one of the worst runners in his group of friends, but still just talking to himself, like by encouraging himself. And that's the kind of thing that I think your future self should be doing as you go about your day. So from here, you can continue with as many parts of your day as are appropriate to the future self you're envisioning. This is going to be very different for everyone depending on what that is that you're trying to manifest. So for example, if your future self is super fit, you might want to go through what you're like at the gym and just get real specific about that kind of setting and habit. Or if your future self wants to be more involved with philanthropy, maybe you'll envision yourself at meetings. Or maybe your future self is someone with healthy boundaries. So you want to envision yourself setting boundaries with family and friends. You get to tailor this exercise to your future self category or vision that you want. So take some time when you're done with all these prompts, see where those big gaps are between this future self you're envisioning and where you are now. So this part you're going to want to write down also. So what are the big gaps I see between my current self and future self? So, I think there was somebody who wrote something like, for journaling suggestions, they wanted to know something like, how do I change my life? The first thing you need to understand if you're wanting to change your life is what you are today is basically just all of the things you do day in, day out added up. The things that, have happened to you in your life, of course, really matter. The way other people treat you in this world matter. So you really just have to focus on the things you can control and there are enough things that you can control to keep you busy to sort of change into this future self that you desire. So, you know, try to be realistic. There are some things we cannot change. For example, whatever, I'm just making this up. If you have really parent, oh, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. If you have, no family support, that's going to be really hard. But what you could manifest is somebody with really healthy friendships, healthy, solid friendships, and that'll help get you somewhere in life. You really just want to be thinking, obviously, realistically, but no reason not to have, big stretch goals. So once you've taken some time to figure out what those gaps are for you, you might want to go look at the videos I did on how to create a habit and how to get rid of a habit. They're 2 different videos. I'll link them here so you can see those, because this is going to probably have shown you that there are some number of habits that if you started working on them, you could get closer to your future self and, minimize that gap so it's not such a huge crevasse to get over or through. As always, if you have any questions or requests for me in this guided journaling series, please do let me know in the comments below. I really have fun doing these for you, and I love the recommendations when you guys write them, because it really helps me think about, my own journaling. So I really enjoy it, and I hope that you're getting something out of it too. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.